All right. Welcome back to another edition of Silent Sirens. I'm your host, Thomas Orness. Today we're going to discuss Big 12 championship game, the seeding controversy again for Iowa State. Seems like when we're this good, they always give us the bottom half of what we're supposed to be. Uh, Today kind of made me realize the history of the 1999-2000 year. It kind of feels like deja vu all over again, where we kind of get the seed because what I've seen online is like looks like the committee had the bracket already filled out before even like the tournament's play started. I feel like because otherwise it looked like what should have been a low 3 seed, almost a 4 seed like Kansas. So either the Big 12 tournament games didn't matter as much as we thought, which they always kind of say it's extra credit. But if we beat Baylor and Houston pretty manageably and we're hanging on to a 2 seed, and the AP poll comes out today, we're ranked 4th. It's kind of frustrating to be a Cycle fan, but kind of can't really dilute this weekend because it was one of the best weekends, most dominant Kansas City trips we had, which you could say a lot more about tonight. I did because you were there the whole time. So how was it?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, if you listen to Kelvin Sampson talk about us after the game on Saturday, he pretty much said the Iowa State fans put on a clinic on how to follow their team. I mean, he was, I think you could take that press conference and run it as an infomercial for any of our recruits. But yeah, no, we came out big time. There were Iowa State fans everywhere. I sent you a picture of a Houston fan that I found on Thursday. I said I found a unicorn because it was the only ones I sent. And then every time they did the pep rally at the Power and Light for the other teams, there was nobody there. I mean, it was just the Iowa State fans sitting there watching their cheerleaders. And so, yeah, Iowa State fans showed up great. It was phenomenal atmosphere each time. One game went by, it became even better. Thursday night, your mom and I got a hold of a bad set of appetizers, and so I had to go to the game by myself on Thursday night, and I sat with a Kansas fan and a bunch of Kansas State fans, and I told them all of us old Big 8 guys need to stick together, and so that was a lot of fun. We talked just Iowa State stuff, and so the Todd family from Aurelio was sitting behind me, and Drum Tang gets teed up again. I mean, and I don't know if you've seen that thing that the Kansas fan did on Twitter about the one shining moment. That is perfect. Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Then Friday, of course, we came out and played really well against Baylor again. Drew was not Brett. Why am I Scott Drew? I keep saying his brother Bryce. Was really complimentary on us too. Played really well. Got him out of that zone. I mean, that zone is something they've lived on, and we were killing it, and they finally got it out of it. And then so I was sitting there watching Houston play that night, and I look at your mom, and I said, "Who is going to beat these guys?" I mean, they look so good. Shed looks so. All of those guys were just playing. Cryer was making everything, and then we come out Saturday and just completely house them. It was just mind blowing. I mean, I was way too into the game. I apologize to the people sitting in front of me on Friday night. But Saturday, I was just kind of sitting there, kind of stunned that we were destroying them that much. So
it kind of seemed like we broke the will of Houston and the crowd, and Houston just could not get anything going. And
couldn't make anything.
Milan started hitting his shots. That kind of really put the cap on the whole weekend because especially like the second half, they kind of just stopped playing for Houston. I feel like, and
well, they did. I mean, they pulled Roberts and they pulled Shed. I mean, But at the end of it was pretty. If you rewatch it, I mean, it was pretty close. And even at the end of the first half, Houston, we're up 7. Houston doesn't score, and I'm just yelling. The old coach comes out of me and say, the last shot for the half has to go up as the buzzers are going off. Don't give them a chance to go down and hit a 3 or get a run out.
Gilbert hit it threw it Frere up.
Yeah, it wasn't. It hit the back of the rim. I mean, it was a prayer, but that would have been a monstrous shot. So we go up 7 at halftime, and then we come out and they can't make anything. We're making everything. And when was the last time Cryer had a good game against us? I mean, I don't think he played well any of those 3 games.
He seems to be up and down, but whenever he's playing good, man, they will not lose because when he hits threes and
Yeah.
And it just
I didn't agree with what Fran said when I rewatched this thing. They're a shell of the team that they were before. I mean, Roberts was hurt Friday night. I mean, he was hobbled pretty good against us. But how many? If you take one guy off of our team, off our starting lineup, how do we change that much? You know what I mean?
I'd say any
Taman,
post
maybe?
any post goes down, we're in trouble.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you watch Omaha. Omaha is not that much smaller than Robert. I mean, he can fill in.
But Robert's been in our program for 3 years and knows the program on the back of his hand. And Omaha, he was fantastic for what he did out there for Watson being out. But going the rest of the year, I think if he plays 4 or 5 minutes a game, I'll be shocked because Watson, he comes in and he's just a better version of Omaha right now.
Right.
And Omaha is probably going to, I don't know, Watson has a probably higher ceiling that we give him credit for because he just comes in and does exactly, just like Robert Jones, just does exactly what he needs to be done. And that one dunk he got, and it's just perfect I feel like our guards try to get Watson some easy points to get him on the board just because of he needs some credit for the defense because he doesn't, if those points aren't there, we don't really see the points he's not giving up on defense. That's just how people are in pro basketball and stats wise because Watson does a lot of stuff that doesn't show up on the stat book, which Robert does exactly the same thing. And I think Watson, hopefully, the portal opening up today, which is weird.
That's so dumb. That's a whole nother podcast. I mean, yeah.
Which the portal opening up today. Hopefully, we can keep our players and continue on March. And we got a rough draw, but. We just went through the toughest conference, and so I'm not really scared of these like lower non-conference teams. That just in case the only time I would have like worried about them if they come out and they just hit like 5 threes in a row or like 6 threes in a row, and they just
which Tucker DeVries can. I mean,
but they have to get past their first game, which the Drake thing was my biggest annoyance is like them and being on the number one or overall seed and we're the last 2 seed. In which I think we were borderline on, and like the media was talking like we were borderline 1 seed the whole entire time, the whole day and a half before Selection Sunday, and for us to be the last 2 seed, it's just like but we get Omaha. That's the thing. We got Omaha. If we were 2 seed in Salt Lake City, then we could be even more pissed off. But we got Omaha, and I think if we can just survive the first weekend, we'll just forget all about this.
So let me ask you this. So I was stunned sitting there watching it when it came out, that we had the side stories with TJ's former team, South Dakota State, is who we open with. And then we play Drake. Both of those teams are closer to Omaha than us.
Yep.
And you can see it by the ticket prices. The ticket prices for the first session for Illinois are about $50. And the ticket prices to get in the door for our session as of right now is about $200 to sit in the note. There's one row, second to the top row in the very end that's going for $300 a piece right now.
But I think if you fill the whole South Dakota State, nothing against Drake or South Dakota State's fan base, but if you fill them in Hilton Coliseum, I don't even think they fill it with their whole fan base.
Yeah, but my point is that, so this is my thoughts on it, is that Lenardi had us as the number 7 overall seed on his last post on Twitter. Marquette got that, and they're in Indianapolis. What if it's flipped, where Marquette goes to Omaha and we go to Indianapolis? Are we going to be happier?
I think everyone was just if we got Omaha, who cares what seed we are? Who cares? That was our mindset for the last 3 weeks because we were struggling on offense. But now we go into the tournament play with everything that was discussed about our problems. We kind of overturned by showing we beat one of the best offensive teams in Baylor, and we beat the best team overall, or at the time, like Houston was going to be the number 1 overall seed.
Which, if they had the brackets done, that wasn't probably going to happen either, right?
Which UConn won their Big East, and then Houston got trounced by us by 30, and it just seems like it meant nothing.
Yeah, if they had the brackets done like we think, I mean, Houston was never going to be the number 1 overall seed.
So if Houston beats us by 30, do you think they're the number 1 overall?
I have no
seed?
idea.
Yeah.
I mean, because I agree with you. I mean, I think it looks like they were drinking beer at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. They were done. They weren't paying any attention to anything. I mean, but my point is that let's say we do get the 7th seed overall, and Marquette gets the 8th. Marquette goes to Omaha. We go to Indianapolis, which is drivable. I mean, it's not Omaha, but it's still drivable.
But you're thinking more of the Sweet 16 and Elite 8.
Right. So because Marquette's in the South. And so we would open with Western Kentucky and then play the winner of Florida and then the winner of that, which is Boise State and Colorado. So probably Florida. Then, so that would get us to the Sweet 16. Sweet 16 for the South is in Dallas. It's the best location Sweet 16 wise because one of them's in LA. We discussed this last time. One's in LA, one's in Boston, one's in downtown Detroit. Out of those 4, Dallas is the most enticing one.
I just don't know how Detroit got it.
But if we end up in Dallas just by flipping Marquette and us, okay, with me?
Yep.
We just flipped Marquette and us. We probably, if I know we're looking past everything, and I'm not trying to jinx anybody. I'm just thinking this through. Our first round game in the Sweet 16 in Dallas would probably be Kentucky.
Yeah.
So I'm much happier with our draw right now.
Because UConn has no, their fan base is not even a 60th of what Kentucky's is. Because if you're Kentucky, the ticket prices
are going to go bananas.
I think the ticket prices are crazy now with South Dakota State and Drake. If we had Kentucky fans that's like a religion.
Yeah,
they show up.
It's like Texas football.
Yeah, they'll. But
so the end of the day is that I'm done worrying about our seeding. I mean, we can South Dakota State won their league. We should win. I mean, we're already favored by 16, which is way too many in my opinion.
But it just shows that even if we're in the best conference, even if we win the best conference tournament, they still see us as Iowa State. Back when we're in the 90s, nothing's changed.
Right.
The Freud Hoiberg era didn't change it, and hopefully we got to win the big one. I feel like we need to win a national championship until this changes.
Yeah.
Because the media is just so powerful in their ways that you have to win the big one.
Yeah.
Because Michigan State, going back to when we could have won it back then when we lost to Michigan State, flip it. I think obviously the Larry situation deranged everything, but I think Michigan State is not looked at as the blue blood. But they've only won one. They've been to the Final Four many times, but they've only won the big one once.
And that was that year.
Yeah.
The year that we played them. Yeah.
And that was the last time the Big Ten has, as a conference, has won the championship since then.
Yeah.
So,
jeez.
Michigan State is one off of that. They've milked the crap out of that. Obviously, they had Magic Johnson, too. But Tom Izzo, obviously, he's one of the best Coach Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer, but
they didn't win it with Magic.
They did. They did. But
so
I'm saying recent history.
Right. So they've won it twice. Yeah.
But I'm saying recent history, that Michigan State title, they used that for my entire life.
Right.
Which if it was an Iowa State title, obviously maybe we would have gotten a little more respect over the years because it's just been about Hilton Magic. And you can't bring Hilton Magic on the road. That's the biggest thing.
We did this weekend.
Which we did. Yeah. Which hopefully we can do that in Omaha. And I think if we have the crowd in with our defense, I think we really don't have that much to worry about because even if with a bad offensive performance, if our defense shows up and gets turnovers and gets easy layups, I think we're fine the first two rounds. But if our defense just concede, it's been rock solid the entire time TJ's been here, even with way worse players. Our players have elevated a lot since TJ's first got in there. And that first TJ's Sweet 16 team, I don't know how the hell he did it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
If Brockington got hurt or in foul trouble, that team had zero offense.
Yeah.
And I think as Iowa State fans, we should just continue with the momentum. Obviously, we should just have another chip on his shoulder because TJ will just knock the crap out of us. How he's gonna play his old team. That's another motivation. And then if we get Drake. That will be a crazy atmosphere. I think it'll be a higher scoring game, and Drake has not seen our defense or anything type of level defense. So I think Iowa State fans are just freaking out because we know out of the gates our offense usually struggles, but with TJ, I think our defense being the forefront of our program is completely different from March, and I think Iowa State needs to kind of forget the Hoiberg and Johnny Orr era of our offense is not going to show up but I think our defense will show up, and as long as our fan base shows up, which I think.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Being in Omaha, it's just gonna be Kansas City 2.0, and first 2 games we've never had this level of home court, and I think we should just take advantage of it and continue on this great season, because I don't want it to come to a crashing halt. Because if we lose to South Dakota State, oh man,
no, let's not even talk about that. Yeah,
but we always say that. Like you said, like one of the last questions before we walked into the UAB games, like, what if we lose this thing?
Yeah, no, I looked at your brother and said, we can't lose today, can we? And he kind of looked at me like a little cross-eyed. Then we walked in. So I was listening to Williams and Bloom today, and Bloom refers to it as the Frosted Tips game. And that's exactly what I said.
Yep, they came out.
They came out, and I looked at you guys go, what is going on? I mean,
we set up the way top because we were saving money for the rest of the week, and we could have,
Then we were looking at, so then I just said, I knew that something, and then watching them warm up, they were jacking around, then watching them come out at halftime, and Bryce Young Jones sits on the bench with
Alamasi, I think.
With dude who was at our house. He came to camp.
Mike Stud.
Yeah, tall guy. Why am I drawing blank in his name? Jamil McKay.
Oh.
He said Jamil sat next to Bryce Young Jones at the bench and didn't take a shot in warm-ups talking to Bryce, trying to talk him through it. So, yeah, so referring to as the Frosted Tip games, I get a kick out of it, because that's the first thing that all of us noticed when that happened. But, one side note that I think we talked about that happened this weekend is that it's kind of a tradition that if you stay at the Marriott and we win, the team comes in and, everybody cheers for them and all that kind of stuff. And when we won it with Tyrese Halliburton, your little brother went downstairs and got selfies with Taylor Horn Tucker, Tyrese Halliburton, Jacobson kid and all that. TJ packed him up on the bus from the T-Mobile Center and went back to Ames. Didn't even come to the hotel. So he was planning on that the whole time. They had to pack up their stuff and have it on the bus, and knew they were going home to get ready for next week. So that's a whole different level of focus as far as being compared to the Frosted Tips year. So I'm not worried about the focus part of it. I mean, it's a different stadium. It's a little bit bigger than what we're used to. It's bigger. It's probably size of a Sprint Center. So we just need to get in a rhythm shooting wise, and our defense has traveled all year. So if we play, mediocre defense to average defense, and the level of mediocre offense and the level of defense that we played all year, we should be fine.
But I don't know. I just know that I can go down that rabbit hole where the Iowa State a lot of Iowa State fan bases are right now, where it's like we just cannot catch a break. Like we're Iowa State, even when we have the best years, like we get crapped on. One of the best years in football, we get COVID.
Yeah, right.
Just like many times, we just need to win the games.
Right.
We got Omaha.
Yeah, we got Omaha. We've got a team that is.
We always want to play Drake. We could finally play Drake. Maybe it has to be in the postseason.
We got a South Dakota team with 12 losses we're opening with.
But it's just so annoying to be now talking about our non-conference. Like, who gives a shit about our non-conference?
And they don't take into account that Hassan Ward was hurt during two of our losses during non-con in November.
A starter. And
right.
But like, who cares? No one's even said a word about non-conferences until the very That's so
well,
dumb.
hell, they brought up Grambling State. Grambling State's in the tournament, for crying out loud.
And is it our fault that
we beat them by 50?
Iowa was just a train wreck this year?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Obviously, as a fan, I get why we should maybe up the level of competition on the non-conference, but no one else does. Like Houston had a same level of non-conference as us, and they lost by 30 to us, and no one even cares about it. They just brush it off. It was so annoying because we beat them by 30, and then they come to the Reese Davis and the other desk. They talk about Iowa State for literally 20 seconds. It's just about what Houston didn't do.
Right.
It's just God.
Yeah.
We just have any credit?
Even your mom said, I was rewatching when I got home, and your mom said, "Geez, all they do is talking about Houston. They're not talking about how good we're playing." I mean. But that's just the way it is. But you're right. I mean, it's time to stop bitching. It's just time to start winning. I mean, win in the NCAA tournament. I mean,
it's just gonna be annoying because usually I don't know if they have it where Charles and all these NBA guys then now come cover out college and they didn't watch anything about the regular season. And I don't know. I feel like college sports in general is just. I feel like the people and the administrators are making decisions. There's never been more disconnect.
Yeah.
because like the
Yeah.
14-team playoff, when there hasn't even been a 12-team playoff yet, I'm like, what? Like, that is the most ridiculous thing ever. And I think like that happened like the last 2 weeks, and I think people don't realize like the down the line, people are like, what? Like these decisions were made, and I don't know. The NCAA tournament's awesome, and I don't know. It just seems like whenever things go well, Iowa State things just whenever something goes a little slightly worse, it's just like, okay, the sky's falling. We're gonna it's gonna be an early exit, and
yeah, it's not going to be. I'm not worried. I mean, I you know, it'll take me 10 seconds watching the game to figure out that I think we're gonna be fine. I mean, but I actually, the more I look at our draw, the more I like it. I mean, Illinois has a hell of a Illinois' talent as heck, but they have a hard time guarding.
And I think BYU is like the
going to give
biggest.
them fits.
I don't want to see BYU again because they're like, I feel like their style of play is like our kryptonite. Like they pass the ball so well.
Yeah.
And they're gonna make. The thing about them is if they don't make anything, they'll lose first round.
Yeah.
They kind of like Iowa State before, like the Hoiberg era. If we go 3 for 24 from 3, your night's over.
Yeah, Duquesne. I mean, Duquesne's kind of on a roll right now. They got a kind of a cool story too. But so that, I mean, you know, the thing that's frustrating about the ticket thing. I'm going to get back to this because this is just really irritating the crap out of me. By putting Drake a 10 seed in Omaha, it is risen the prices of tickets. I mean, put them in Indianapolis, put Colorado or Boise State in Omaha. I mean, geographically wise, that probably makes about as much sense. But yet, they put Drake in our session,
which I think
and they blow the ticket prices through the roof.
It's like low key giving more respect to Drake, a 10 seed, than Iowa State, the 2 seed.
Yeah, Drake, South Dakota State, are all closer to Omaha than us, and then Illinois is thrown in there too, which is drivable. They're going to show up. I mean,
I don't know. It's hard. I don't know. It's just hard not to like go down the path. I've been reading all day. It's like everyone's just like, oh man, here we go again, and it just.
I'm not worried about the game. The basketball itself, I'm not worried about. I feel bad for the fans because there are some people, including us, that are second guessing whether we're going to go, whether we're going to go Thursday because of the ticket prices. If it was in the first session, it's a no-brainer. But when it's it's $200 a seat to sit in the top row of one of those big stadiums, you know, there's a lot of people rethinking whether they're going to go or not. So that's what makes
Sweet 16 in Boston, like that is ridiculous.
Yeah. And we've already talked about that, but the sites that they picked for the Sweet 16, on all accounts, are not basketball places.
Nope. I mean Celtics have basketball history, but it's the NBA,
right? But
nothing to do with college.
But I'm talking about the fans.
Yeah.
Nobody can afford to go to Brooklyn or Boston on a Thursday.
Especially like if they just did Kansas City, like that's gonna be a huge bill. Especially if we go the whole thing, man. Like Cyclone fans might have to figure out their finances the next couple of years because if we continue to keep doing this.
Tell me about it. Jeez, I mean, as much money I had 2 beers and the Power and Light for $40. I mean, the first when we went there. I mean, and then I was going to do several shout outs, but shout out to the Howl at the Moon bar there. I mean, they were attracting the Iowa State fans. You walk in with an Iowa State gear on. This is a bar that's on the top corner of the Power and Light. You have Iowa State gear on. They give you a VIP band, and you got $5 Busch Lights.
Wow.
And there were tons of Iowa State fans, and there was packed. And there was a line. They didn't open until 2 o'clock on Saturday, and there was a line to get in there when they opened. So
dang,
they killed it because there was Iowa State fans everywhere. Because I saw it walk by some lady, and she had a Busch Light, and I said, "Where'd you find that?" And she pointed that way, and then I walk in there, and everybody's an Iowa State fan. So that was fun.
But yeah, just like I don't know, just going back to the seeding thing, like. You remember back when we won the title and then we won the Big 12 tournament? You're like, why?
And we're a 2 seed?
Why aren't we a 1 seed?
Yeah.
Like, was that like in your brain? Like, why?
Oh yeah, the people were talking about it. Yeah, I mean that, and
like even we've talked about Eric Hefton's interview, and they're talking about how it was more about they wanted Minneapolis and they didn't really care about the 1 seed because if the 1 seed, it would have been somewhere way different. Because back then, like, it was, I don't know, it was just run differently than it is now. And I think if we can make it more simpler where fans can understand, I feel like that'd be kind of make it easier so people don't get as frustrated like we are. Like why can't we be in Omaha? Like, why couldn't we be in North Carolina? Like, if we were in North Carolina's bracket, like, even if we get to like the Elite Eight with like North Carolina, it was like kind of like the Michigan State thing. We're like, why the hell is
North Carolina's got to play in L.A.
But I'm saying like where it's like, oh, we at least like when we get to the Elite Eight with UConn, it's not gonna be like, oh, we're playing each other way earlier than we should have. Like we could play this game in the national title. Like, why are we playing this in the Elite Eight? Like the UConn and Iowa State right now are playing arguably the best basketball out of everyone.
Yeah.
And everyone's just choosing UConn, and I don't know. They're 31 wins in the Big East, which the Big East is you cut the Big 12 in half. I think there's a couple teams that could have won that conference, like competed with UConn with that conference, because I think that's how good the Big 12 was this year. But nationally, I think for some reason they talked about the entire year, but like at the very end, it's kind of like the Big 12 is not talked about as much as it was.
Yeah,
the whole year.
I've kind of picked up on that too.
Why?
That's kind of bizarre. I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
I think it has all about the media coverage. Like CBS is about Big Ten,
right, yeah.
and like it's all about media wars,
East Coast stuff. I mean, there's a lot more eyes on TVs in New York than there is in.
It's like it's like politics, but like for college wise.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
true.
Like, and Iowa State's always just gotten the brunt of the. We were always advertised like we have crazy fan base and a crazy good program, but when it comes to us, we don't really get the extra nudge of, hey, we've been actually really good the last 25 years. And
right.
Why can't we be like UConn? Like they're either like the number 1 seed or they're not in the tournament. But they don't get talked about like that. But
so just side note, we did push the button today.
Yep, we did.
Okay, all right. Good. I was going to say we're 28 minutes in, so we're
last time, we did 5 minutes of just
talking to nobody,
talking to no one. Yep.
Well, I think another reason that we didn't get Marquette's slot in the South is that they didn't want to put us and Houston in the same bracket either. I mean, they didn't want to have us playing Houston in the Elite Eight, so potentially.
Like back, like in my brain goes, okay, we were like, in my brain, I'm like, I just don't want to be like the Milan Bank 3 away from a 1 seed.
Yeah, so that's exactly what we are, though.
But no, we weren't. I mean, even if that goes in, I think we're still the highest 2 seed. Maybe.
We won the Big 12, though.
But
we banked that in. We won the Big 12 and the tournament,
which that 99-2000 team did win, and they got the same.
But that's a road win at Houston, or excuse me, at Baylor. I think it makes a world of difference. So that was where my mind went. We're 2 seconds away from being a
or
1
like
seed.
We played 10 or 15 minutes like a bad stretch against Texas A&M. Like if that doesn't happen
without Hassan, right? Yeah.
Which I don't know. We just need to win the big one. We need to at least
stop bitching and just win.
Win the big one, or at least meet the Sweet 16, Elite 8 when we're a 2 seed or ranked really high. Like it's always been, even with the Niang year was when he got hurt the first game, but we still made it Sweet 16. But we didn't have our full force. Like we had a dozy
and damn near did it too.
And at the starter being North Carolina, which weirdly enough we literally have a win streak against North Carolina.
Yeah, right.
Like Caleb Grills and DeAndre Kane. I don't know. It's just being an Iowa State fan, we gotta take the good to take the bad. I think.
Well, we're in Omaha. It's gonna be a ton of people there. I mean, I talked to so many people that already had tickets for Omaha. I didn't pull the trigger on that. I mean, I shout out to Randall's and all the UPS crew at Ames. I talked to them a lot this weekend, and they had rooms. I'm not sure they had tickets, and I got rooms a month ago. There's just a lot of people that I talked to that were planning on going to Omaha one way or the other, because we all kind of thought it was a locked in thing, and it should be a huge crowd for us down there.
But just overall playing at this time in March, I don't think there's been a better team. There's like 3 teams. I think this team's in that category now with the Pfizer team, Jamal, and then DeAndre Kane's team.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Those are the top 3. Those are things that are playing the best at this time of the year.
Which I feel like that DeAndre Kane team like played their way into the 3 seed. And I think that's why it's kind of confusing as Iowa State fans, because we thought we were playing our way into like a 1 or 2,
or at least a higher 2.
We were like going into Kansas City. I thought we were already a solid 2.
Yeah,
and like if we lose at Kansas State, I think we were probably a 3 or 4.
Right.
Which imagine for a 4 seed.
Yeah, with Kansas.
Yeah,
I mean Kansas is falling off the map. You take Kansas off the front of their jersey, and they're 6.
And we went undefeated at home. Beat Houston twice, and it doesn't really seem like it.
Yeah.
we beat the best team in the country
twice.
That's not UConn twice.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's
well,
really annoying.
Like I said,
it's really annoying.
I know it's annoying, but it's just the way it is.
But,
I mean,
yeah.
but you know, so the question is that people have been questioning over the last 24 hours is, you know, is the conference tournament as relevant as we wished it was? I mean, we moved this, if you think about it, we moved the championship game for the Big 12 tournament up to Saturday. So we didn't have this like the Big 10 does where the championship game butts up against the selection show.
Yeah.
And there, you know, where we get a little better consideration. Well, I don't know if that made a difference this year. I mean, it was chalk as far as the seeding goes. I mean, we had seeds 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the semifinals for the Big 12 tournament, and didn't make any difference as far as the seeding goes at all. And so I don't know. I mean, I never want to diminish the Kansas City thing because, you know, they always say, well, it's only 3 hours from Ames or whatever. So, well, hell, I mean, most people that go to the game don't live in Ames.
And like just listening to like the pundits talk about leading up to Kansas City, where like the cycling podcast, we were kind of included that, where we're like, it wouldn't be that big a deal if we lost a game because we can have rest. And the fan part of my brain is like, let's win the whole thing.
No, you and I said that. I said, winning begets. We said, go back and listen to the tape. We said winning begets winning. And so let's just keep winning.
And we did, and it kind of really doesn't seem like it mattered.
We're going to find out Thursday.
I know
whether we're right.
And but I think we're on the right track where Ward and like just all the players that were kind of like they were kind of in a struggle, like Gilbert, Milan, like those are our huge offensive threats, and now they're both playing very well, and it's gonna be scary. But it just seemed like we were playing our way into at least 1 seed, or like the top 2 seed, or the bottom 4 1 seed. Yeah, which was the talk the whole weekend.
Right, and then I listened to the After Dark. What is it called? The Field of 68 on the way home, and they had us as a 1.
Yeah, Seth Davis, like they all agreed.
Seth Davis and still had us as a 1 was over.
Right before, like they talked about it, Clark Kellogg was talking. I think he's a North Carolina guy, and like
Clark Kellogg went to Ohio State.
But I'm saying like he's
a blue blood guy.
Yeah, always defend the blue blood no matter what. And they're just talking about the non-conference. Like who?
Look at Houston's non-conference for the love of God.
It's like after everything, we beat the team by 30, and now the non-conference matters. Like we beat Houston when they were already won the Big 12. Houston was playing up to the Big 12 championship game. They were like the best team in the country, and everyone thought that.
Right.
And now it's just like it literally within that like less than 24 hours, it flipped to UConn. It was all about UConn. Right. UConn was the number 1 team, and everyone just talking about UConn as the number 1 seed, and North Carolina should get the bottom 4 seed because they had slightly better non-conference than Iowa State.
Yeah. So so I know Houston only had 4 losses. 2 of them being to us.
Yep.
And 2 of our losses were when we weren't healthy, which always comes into play. It always has in the past. So Houston isn't healthy right now, but they're still a 1 seed. Here is Houston's non-conference schedule: Louisiana Monroe, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Stetson, Townsend, Utah, who's not good, Dayton, Montana, at Xavier, that's a good one, Rice, Jackson State, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and Penn.
Texas Tech at home. Texas A&M at home.
Texas A&M at home, and they won by 4. Yeah, the team that beat us on a neutral court. So don't tell me that the non-conference is that if that's the case, maybe that's why Texas A&M wasn't the overall number 1 seed because of their non-con.
Well, they're like, well, they didn't have to play at Kansas this year, so they should be a 2 seed.
Yeah, I mean,
like I don't know. Like we should be scheduling better non-conference for the fans, for getting butts in seats, and just in general for college basketball. I think this kind of should they should come out and say this is why you got punished because you didn't play anyone in the non-conference. Which I think as fans we should need to be playing better games to get people more pumped for college basketball rather than the regular season of the conference, because I think it takes forever to get there. I think if we can, like the Michigan game with DeAndre Kane, like that was a huge game for our program.
Right.
And I think we should just be starting to scatter those within the
But
next.
people won't come to Ames. They've talked about this 1,000 times. We can't get people to schedule a home and home with us. They don't want to come to Ames.
Yeah.
Indiana's been to Ames once. Michigan's been to Ames once. I mean, they won't schedule us because they know what it's like to come into Hilton. They might as well write down an L next to their name if they're going to come to. You think UConn will come to Hilton? No freaking way.
Kentucky in the SEC Challenge, they never did go to.
So here's UConn's non-con. Stetson, who got into the tournament barely. Northern Arizona, Stonehill, Mississippi Valley State, Indiana, Texas, Manhattan, New Hampshire, Kansas, and they got beat. North Carolina, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Gonzaga, Seton Hall, St. John's in the Big East.
I think so.
Yeah,
but
that's a much better non-conference than us. That's not even close.
But
right.
Their conference, it doesn't make up for their lack of a decent conference. Like they have Creighton, they got Villanova, who's down.
They get their ass kicked by Creighton.
Like the Big East,
no, Seton Hall wasn't a non-con. Seton Hall was a conference game, and they lost at Seton Hall.
They got killed by Creighton at Creighton. And
Providence is in their league. DePaul's in their league.
Like
Georgetown's in their league. They beat Georgetown by 25. Butler's in their league. I mean,
but they won the national championship last year, which I think,
and they got in the toughest bracket, so they get screwed too.
Yeah,
They have four of the 6 power conference tournament champions are in our bracket.
I don't know. We just need to keep winning.
Yeah, so
I think the formula is there for us to win, and we just need to get through this bracket somehow. And I think my biggest thing is being in Boston is just so annoying. Like that is.
I mean, we've already talked about it, but the sites that they chose for the Sweet 16 are not fan friendly at all.
Yeah,
is LA exactly the hotbed of college basketball? I mean, I liked what you said yesterday when we were talking. Do what the women do. Put the first 2 games in a home court of somebody.
Yeah, if the Drake game, if our second round was Drake and Iowa State.
Put the Drake, Iowa State, Illinois, BYU game in Ames.
That'd be awesome. Because just I don't know. Obviously, there's
4 teams.
The decisions have to be made with that, and the NCAA is not exactly.
Put it in a frickin'.
But it's like if it wasn't already a thing for the women's bracket, like it would make it. It would be just like it's an easy transition. Just do the same template of they do just for the men's.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the. I guess there's probably a huge thing that we're probably not seeing in this that it saves a bunch of people money if you went to one venue versus the other. Maybe I don't know.
No, it's a purely economic thing. I mean, it's hotel rooms.
The media.
Right. I mean, they probably don't want to. I mean, it's probably ESPN's got a finger in it because they don't want to have, or CBS, sending people all over the world. You'd have to have crews in so many more locations, but it would be a much better environment. Put them in a place like that versus, and then do the Sweet 16 in Omaha.
And like, what if how about this? Make it like if you win your conference and your tournament, you are automatically playing at home.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And it gives like parameters like, okay, still gives you motivation to win your conference tournament.
Right.
Because right now it's like, as an Iowa State fan, like we've been searching for titles in the Big 12 tournament. And now I'm just like, does it matter anymore? Do we really?
That's a good question.
Is that why Kansas kind of
That's exactly why Bill Self
they folded and went home
yeah,
pretty fast and went to get healthy, which I don't know. It's just interesting how it all panders out, and Iowa State gets affected in a weird way, even when we're succeeding. And it's not like even if that at Kansas State win, how much did that have to do with us, the seeding?
You mean they can't say loss?
Yeah, the loss. If we would have won that easily, would anything would change?
I don't know.
And
when did I think at some point the committee stopped watching.
Yep.
I mean, I think that was maybe Saturday afternoon.
But anyways,
just to put a bow on this, here's Purdue's non-conference schedule, the other number 1 seed: Samford, Morehead State, Xavier, Gonzaga, Tennessee, Marquette, Texas Southern, Alabama, Arizona, Jacksonville, Eastern Kentucky, So they've got some snoozers in there too, but they do have Arizona in there. Alabama's good this year. Obviously, Marquette's good this year. Obviously, Tennessee's good this year. Gonzaga's not as good as they have been. But so yeah, they're non-conference. There's no comparison between our non-conference and those guys. But there is between us and Houston.
What does Iowa State have to do to get a 1 seed?
I don't know.
Like, take the Pfizer Tinsley year and this year. Like, what is the factors?
Well, we're gonna have we would if you take, let's say we played Marquette. So do you think the way we recruit Wisconsin, they're going to come to Ames? No way in hell.
Or Wisconsin. Or
do you think Rick Barnes is going to drag the Tennessee guys up here again?
They did.
And they kicked their ass.
That was
a different time.
Jeff Beverly.
Yeah.
It was like the first time we wore those gray uniforms.
Yeah, so pick a team. Would Gonzaga fly in? Maybe. I mean, we've played Xavier. We've played them in Ames before?
But the same way, we can't be talking crap about these teams that won't come in and play us in Hilton or vice versa when we don't. We could do the same thing. We could play Drake. We could play UNI. We could play.
Are you going to compare Drake and UNI? No disrespect, guys. But we're not going to compare to Xavier.
But if
the UNI wasn't that good this year, but Drake would have been a great schedule this year.
We don't play them. We play Green Bay. We play Milwaukee. We play the lower tier.
But don't you think the scheduling for this was not anticipating us being this good?
I mean, that's a great point too. Obviously,
I think we were scheduling for a rebuilding year.
Like when TJ firstly got hired, people were saying this is gonna be a 3 or 4 year project.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, we're in the Sweet 16. And
yeah, I guarantee we're scheduling tougher next year if we can find somebody to come.
We're going to Maui, and so
yeah, we haven't seen the non-con, and we won't for a while, I don't think. But
anyway, TJ Otzelberger has to be in the top 3 for Coach of the Year.
So right? Can I want to before we go to that, I want to ask you something. Portal open today.
Yep.
How many guys in the tournament are getting phone calls through their handlers for NIL?
I'd probably say like 40% of the players
are getting calls from people trying to get them to move
when they're trying to prepare.
That is the frosted tip scenario. That's the thing that's going to screw up. Now, I'm not talking about Iowa State necessarily. I'm talking about anybody.
Yeah.
That could potentially screw up a team that's getting ready to go to the tournament because somebody in the background is saying you need to play well to sign this new NIL deal with X, Y, and Z team somewhere else.
Like using Drake as an example, I'm just use this player because he's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
like
Tucker DeVries isn't going anywhere.
I'm saying, like, if he was not the head coach's son, like he would be like Texas, like come, like we'll give you $5 million.
Yeah, right.
Like
to go down the list, Auburn. I mean, all those guys would love to have them.
Yeah, like those lower major team players that are really good. That's gotta be so like an extra level of pressure. It's like I have to go out there. I'm gonna make myself a lot of money within 2 hours because like how many of these non-conference where they have like imagine like Florida Gulf Coast when that dunking thing happened. Like how many of those players would have probably gotten a call or like Jimmer Fredette or Steph Curry back in the day.
Florida Atlantic somehow kept their lineup together, and that's who UConn's gonna have second round. How do you like that draw?
Yeah, that's tough. Like. Yeah, but they didn't give UConn any favors.
I saw a Hurley interview last night. And he wasn't bitching too much. So, I mean, he's not the kind of guy who'll probably do that on TV. But
which I don't know if they.
But again, getting back to that NIL thing, I think that has a potential to see. I think Vegas is probably factoring that into some things. Is that do you have somebody that you're hearing about as getting recruited through the NIL that's going to play on Thursday or Friday? And then that's got to factor into the odds somewhere in my opinion.
If you're an Iowa State player, you got to be kind of thinking, what do we got? Like we had a great season, and like if this team's not going to get respected ever, like I'm gonna have a bullet of cash here for 1 year. Like why would I come back for one more year?
And then you show them a picture of Tyrese Hunter.
I mean,
do you want to have that development over the next 2 years?
But
or do you want to be Tyrese Halliburton?
But Halliburton he was.
You want to be George Niang?
But I'm saying those players completely different because now like Niang was not like when he came to Iowa State nowhere near an NBA player. We had no expectation of being an NBA player.
Exactly.
And he stayed for 4 years, got his degree, but now they're like just using like your son as an example. If he wanted to play football or basketball, he could have like like I think money is more of a factor now. Like, well, I'm gonna work hard so I can get a scholarship at a Power 5 school, and that is gonna give me this much money, amount of money. It used to be like I'm gonna go to college, so get a degree, so eventually make that money.
Yeah.
But now it's like right now, and I can have it now. And,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the society we live in right now. But
it's just like, but
Yeah.
it used to be like I want to get my school to as far as we can in March, so my school can be propped up, and then my school gets more money. But now they're all free agents.
yeah,
Like the
that's
entire
that's exactly right.
entire bracket is free agent right now, and they could just leave, pick up and leave, and for a big check and down the line. And it's the portal opening up during the tournament is just got to be such a weird thing for the coaches too. Like
Yeah,
coaches,
right.
like,
Yes, it
like,
makes their
oh,
job so much harder. Got all these other voices in the background talking to their kids. I mean,
like do they have to like put everyone's phone in the bag and for the game or something like that, like a comedy show, and to make sure no one's talking to other people, because that is definitely happening. And yeah, that's another thing where that's a worry for.
yeah, I don't even want to even float the idea of it happening to us because we have no idea. But I'm just saying is that I would be a lot of money that there are some slime balls running around out there that are recruiting behind the scenes. And there's going to be, I honestly think there's going to be some teams that, especially in the NIT, that sit because they're going to transfer.
There's already 7 to 8 schools that said no to the.
No, but I mean, there's going to be kids on an NIT team that don't play or go to the portal before they go to the NIT.
There's going to be some NIT teams where they get to the finals and then one of their best players transfers.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a shit show.
Like fast rewind to like 2003, 2004, where we're in the NIT with Roman, Simpson, and Blaylock. Like, just
who
like,
knows what'll happen? Yeah,
it's just like it's so hard to keep up.
Well, Fran Frischel, I just listened to him interviewed on KXNO this afternoon. He said that's got to change, and it's going to change. There's no reason that the day after Selection Sunday that the portal opens. I don't know who the moron is that made that decision.
I think I heard today it was about the schedule, like the school schedules lining up, but obviously that's that being the forefront of everyone's. It's just kind of hilarious to me.
That's why the football thing is because they have to get into school or whatever. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's.
What else is on your list? We're gonna talk about this forever.
This has kind of been a more negative podcast just because of the way we get
treated. How can it be negative? We're number 2 seed in Omaha.
It just seems like the entire day everyone's just like deflated. And
I'm not. I'm over that.
But I'm saying it's just like I don't know what we expected. I was like, if we get a 1 seed, great. If we don't, whatever. And it's like we're the last 2 seed. I'm like, all right, we're pissed.
Right.
It's like we need to burn down the committee and start all over again. But I don't know. It's just been such a fun year, and like there's a lot of Iowa State fans who's paid money for a ticket this year and not watched them lost. Like
Kansas City, watched them lose,
and season tickets in Hilton, and I think,
and then drove to Kansas City and didn't see them lose.
Yeah, and if we can continue that, keep it going in Omaha, I think it's just gonna be more fun, and I think our team is just giving them a reason to be pissed off right now is great, because if we versus like being in Louisville or something and like we just wanted a closer site, but now we got the closest site, and now everyone's not talking about, oh, we have Omaha. It's like we're acting like we're in Salt Lake City or Boise.
We're acting like we're about to Boise. Yeah. Well, here's a scenario: we beat San Diego State, tickets are going to open up because
South Dakota State.
Excuse me, South Dakota State, and then if Drake gets beat, Hilton West.
I just don't get why you think South Dakota State and Drake just have a huge fan base.
It's two fan bases that are combined in the same session.
Going to the same, I guess that, but I think as an Iowa State fan base, we should be the one overtaking all of them.
Right, but they get an allotment, and you've got fans that are on this, and you've also, I hate to say it, but I guarantee you got Hawk fans that are buying tickets to go cheer against us.
I don't know.
I saw Hawk gear 3 or 4 times at the power line.
You're telling me Hawk fans who don't pay the money to go see their own team play are going to pay money to
guarantee you that's going to happen.
Iowa State play.
So when I saw a couple walk in decked out in all Hawkeye gear on Thursday in the Power and Light, I just shook my head and said, "Really? I mean, I would never even think about doing that if it would have been Iowa City." I mean, happened. People in the game saw people in the game with their Hawk stuff on.
What would they do without Caitlin Clark?
Yeah, well, she obviously is fantastic.
I know, but like she's saying as a basketball fan.
Oh no, I think Fran's trying to get out of there. I really do.
But
I think for answering to Iowa City.
I've heard rumors that he tried to get the Notre Dame job
Yeah, I heard
last
it too.
year, and he just got told to leave. But I don't know.
Well, here's another one too. I mean, I think Williams or Bloom or somebody brought it up, or somebody did that. If that happens, I guarantee you the first call that Iowa City's making is to Darren DeVries. I mean,
which I think he should be getting.
He's going to get a lot more phone calls than that one.
Yeah, like I don't know, like the Texas job. Like I think, like the Texas hiring of Rodney Terry was just a complete botch.
No, that was a swing and a miss. And
like they could have nailed that so easily, and because like the NIL money and they got a new arena, and I don't know. Obviously,
we had some weird crap go on this year, didn't we? In the Big 12, the Tang thing.
Which they're playing Iowa in the first round,
that's hilarious.
and then NIT, which is awesome.
But he got teed up twice against us. When was the last time that happened? That a team we played 3 times in the season got teed up 2 out of the 3 games. I mean, that probably has never happened.
And Scott Drew got ejected.
Right. It's just, oh my God.
In that same game, we lost. Like we hit 2 buzzer beaters in that game. One counted, one didn't. Gilbert hit the halftime one, and Milan hit the buzzer beater to win it.
So weird. Yeah. Gotta love this game.
It's been a fun year. Like
it has been.
Hilton undefeated. The transfer, like Gilbert's one of my favorite transfers we've had in a long time.
And I think he got right. I mean, I think he was a little dinged up last week, and he felt this week, it was the week before, excuse me, and he looked like a new man.
Like he didn't seem like he was doing the extra aggression plays that he usually did, because I feel like he was kind of healing up from the way he just falls all the time. I'm just like, man, the amount of bruises he has to have at the end of the game, and Lipsy's, I think Lipsy's that's the amount of step back threes he's had. Man, Lipsy is turning into a cyclone legend. Like I think he's going to be easily jersey retired.
Yep.
I'm not sure I'm going to do that with Melvin and Lipsy. Maybe let just put 2 jerseys up there. And
Bob Jones said can't believe we haven't talked about it. Bob Jones has the game of his life against Kansas State.
Yeah, the Bob Jones game.
Hassan Ward is playing as well as he's played all year.
And 1 dunk.
Yeah, I mean, and go down the list. I mean, all of them. I mean, Milan found a shot again. I mean, geez.
We're making our free throws.
We were 93% against Kansas State or Baylor, one of those 2 games. I mean, we've been talking a while, and we haven't hardly talked about the kids playing at all. I mean, which is sad. I mean,
it just seems like I don't know. We always just wait to get screwed over, and then it finally kind of happens. I'm kind of happy we got a 2 seed. I wanted just to get a 2 seed. I like the 1 seed is just a little too much expectation for me.
You're probably right.
Like there's the 16 seeds winning more often nowadays, and I don't want to be on that list.
Right. I don't want to be on the pregame of the selection show for the next 20 years if that would happen.
Yeah, and I think going to just to brief on the women a little bit.
Well, one thing I was forgot to tell you about this weekend, you should have saw the reaction of the crowd when Omaha came in.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody is looking at each other like, what is going on? These people behind me. And I said, that means Demarion's out. I mean, when Demarion got hit against at Kansas State, he got clocked. It buckled his knees like Tyson's going to do to what's his name. And, he was in. So that I immediately knew that Demarion was going to be out. I didn't realize he was going to be out 2 games. But Omaha came in with a lot of energy and scored right away, jacked the 3 as soon as he got a chance, and wasn't shy at all. I mean, man, he's long.
And I feel like the catching it and putting it right up is that speed. I feel
he's really, really good around the basket.
But it seemed like the whole year that catching it and putting up, there was just like a half second off where he's just used to I'm playing against Iowa kids, I can take my time, and but I feel like that speed just finally catching up. And Milan playing it good at the same time.
Yeah,
it's just everything felt like it just one of the most best probably Kansas City experiences.
Easy, yeah.
You just
that and we decided to drive down there when we were sitting at your brother's house and watch the first round. Then we packed up in the car and all drove down together. That was a lot of fun too. But I wasn't gonna come home. I was gonna stay for the championship because for budget reasons, because I knew I wanted to go to Omaha. But then your sister calls me and says she wants to come down, and so I said, well, I guess we're staying. And I got to tell you this story. So. We had to change hotels because I couldn't. The hotel we're staying at the Hotel Phillips, they were booked, so I had to go get a room at the Marriott. And so we're checked in. Your sister shows up. We get on the elevator to go down the power and light. Houston guy walks in, and we're just kind of giving him crap, and he's laughing off. And so then we go down 2 floors. The doors open up. TJ gets on the elevator with us. He's looking down. He's obviously doesn't want to talk to anybody. And so then all of the Iowa State fans are kind of looking at each other. And your mom's looking at me like, to make sure it really was him, and I knew it was him. And so then the Houston guy keeps talking, and he goes, "Where do you guys think you're going to be in the NCAA tournament?" Doors open. Curtis Jones walks onto the elevator, and so now they're both standing in front of me, like 12 inches from me, and I'm kind of smiling with the Houston guy, and I look at the Houston guy. He goes, "Well, we're hoping for Omaha." And then the doors open up. They walk off, and I say, "Hey, good luck today, guys." And they both say thank you. And then the doors close, and everybody looks at the Houston guy. And your mom goes, "That was our head coach." And he goes, "You're kidding me. I had no idea. I had no idea that was TJ Osberger."
That's hilarious.
But it was funny. I mean, TJ wanted no part of small talk, and I didn't blame him a bit. And I didn't try to start a conversation. I felt like I was going to be that one commercial. Go, "Hey, I'm Keith." No, I didn't want to do that.
You just like give him like an out of bounds play.
Right, yeah.
It's like, have you ever seen this out of bounds play?
Yeah.
I took a camp back in '98.
Junior high, yeah. But yeah, that was funny.
So I had pizza, Billy Donovan. Back.
I drank a Miller Lite with Billy Donovan in 1997. Yeah, let's talk about the women. I mean, I think we got, unfortunately, again, we got another storyline. We're going against the Freeze lady that is one's on Bill Finley's staff, and Bill Finley referred to her as, part of her family, part of his family. And
Maryland?
Maryland's coach. And Stacy Freeze's sister, Brenda Freeze. They've got to travel all the way across the country to play us.
During the selection show, I was just waiting for us to be 8-9 by Iowa.
Yeah,
that's what I was waiting for.
I thought if they wanted to sell tickets, so it'd be
which that would have been awesome. But in the same way, I think if we can get past Maryland and I don't know, I would if I was a coach of the 2 seed, seeing Audie Crooks in the second round, that's gotta be like, oh man.
Yeah, if we beat Maryland, she's going to start getting a lot of national run.
I know, but she's like, man, that's a really annoying thing to prep for because Audie could just have 28 points and no one can guard her, and she makes her free throws, and it's just over. Because,
and like we've said before, though, it's going to all depend on how they officiate her.
Yep.
I mean, if they're going to let them, like they did in the Big 12, let them knock her down onto the ground all the time, or call offensive fouls because she, tries to post somebody up. I mean, did you see what she did to that? Was it the Oklahoma girl that she came down to post up, and the Oklahoma girl tried to
flop
and just absolutely Audie clocked her.
Oh, really?
It was an offensive. I mean, she wasn't dirty by any means, but that girl didn't want to do that again.
Was that the one where she made it and the turnaround flexed?
No, that was a different play, but that was pretty cool too. So I think that's
one.
Yeah. So I think our girls are going in with no fear. I mean, I think they won't be scared of anybody. I mean,
it's just gonna be a fun women's basketball, man. It's elevated so much,
and it's all because of Caitlin Clark.
She
just
Audie,
caught fire,
and Audie being good too helps the Iowa State fan base where
it's
not just about Caitlin and having her be for us at least,
not nationally, but
just because I watch I don't know, but Caitlin Clark's completely changed my mind. I'll be obviously Iowa State fans hate that, and it's just the way it is. She didn't choose Iowa State. She could have. It was a 50-50 shot, I feel like, and he just picked out the Hawks, and just obviously her being an icon, she's gonna have a statue, and she's been that good.
She could pay for her own statue.
And we were just watching. It was just funny because we were watching the Nebraska game, and the Nebraska girls were dancing, and then Clark just hits a clutch shot, and we all just looked up. Man, she's freaking good.
Yeah, Nebraska just let that one get away from them. I mean, at the one point the announcer said, I was running out of time, and then they just did stupid shots. And no, I mean, we probably lost a couple listeners last time when I said a negative comment about Caitlin, but I'm not going to stick by. I'm going to stick by it. I mean, she's an iconic, once in a lifetime basketball player. I just don't like the way she handles officials sometimes. I'm not anything. It's not a personal shot at her by any means. I think she's a wonderful person. I've watched her interact with the little girls and everything. But that's just my opinion. But I think she's changed the game. I mean, the ticket prices for the Indiana Fever have doubled since they found out that she's going to declare for the draft. So
there's a difference between Fran McCaffrey and Caitlin Clark is the winning and being special.
Exactly. Yeah.
If the laws brushed off, like Bobby Knight, watching old coaches go after officials, and just I don't know, it's just funny how just finally see a successful woman completely transcend a sport, and we're nitpicking the struggling and being annoying to refs, which most good players do that from time to time.
Yeah.
Any level, LeBron, the NBA, watching Draymond Green in the NBA,
yeah,
and him literally cry to the refs, and can't like it's just like I feel like it's a culture of like especially like the AAU culture of like the refs are not really treated well.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of is really and like coaches like how many freaking tees we saw this year. There's so many tees.
Yeah.
I think there's a record. Maybe
We didn't
not.
have any.
I know because
TJ's a master at working those guys right now.
But there's a time where I'm like, come on, TJ, just get kicked out. Like I would get like that. There's one of like there's like so many plays where I'm like, how has he not freaking out?
I know. Yeah, because you would have. You got kicked out of a freshman game.
Yeah, I did. Sure did.
I got to tell you this too. I was at a rec center today, and I saw some retired guys that were playing pickleball, and they were all Hawk fans sitting around talking, and I didn't want to, get into a debate with them because I had to get to work, and I just was trying to get what I was going to get done and leave. But I heard one of them, they were making fun of TJ, and they goes, "Yeah, he needs to get a bigger shirt or something." I said, "Really? That's what you guys are going to start? That's the best shot you've got against us?" When I don't know that was just annoyed me today for some reason. So.
I don't know the pockets of Cram McCaffrey are going to get way bigger when they have to pay his buyout.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I don't know. It's just I feel like it would be more fun. I hate Iowa State fans probably don't want to hear this, but Iowa being bad, like not making the tournament, is not good for our rivalry. Like,
didn't help our schedule.
We need Iowa to be just the same level, or if not a little better. Then it just makes the rivalry better. It makes the game better. It makes like the state of Iowa about college basketball. Just like Kansas, when Kansas State and Kansas are good, like that, those games are so fun to watch. But like when one team's down, and then it kind of turns into like one team is just like their Super Bowl, like they need to win that. And I think if Iowa can just get a decent level head coach, that's not like I think TJ Otzelberger is probably a top 5 coach right now.
Yeah, could I mean at this moment in time, you bet. Yeah,
like I would not want anyone else.
No. I mean, you mean talking about in Iowa State history or nationally?
No, in college basketball going forward. All the good old
number
coaches,
one defense. I mean, taking a team that was in the ashes that first the year before he took over, and now Sweet 16, number 2 seed, third year. I mean,
and dealt with the
right.
Caleb Grill drama, Tyrese Hunter leaving, AJ Green not coming.
Yeah,
like it could have been way better. Like if Tyrese Hunter's still on our roster, we probably don't have Gilbert or Chris Jones, which I'd rather have.
Right, exactly
those two. But it could have been even more better if we had AJ Green last year. Watching him on the Bucks, like he would have that team. This year,
we beat Pitt.
We could be a 1 seed this year because maybe we would have had more respect and gone further in the NCAA tournament last year. But our NCAA tournament last year, like being such a low scoring, like one of the most unwatchable games in NCAA tournament history.
Yeah,
that was terrible last year.
Yeah, I've tried to forget that one.
And I think that is just still on the forefronts of our people's minds on the media that really only pay attention during March when it rolls around. But I don't know. It's gonna be fun being in Omaha.
Yes, yeah, it will be. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to talk you into doing a give. I talked to a few people down there that had the black hoodie on a couple times. Got a lot of compliments about that. Ran into a couple people that hadn't heard of us before. One of them's Dave Maxheimer, he works for Hagee's in Clarion.
Oh, nice.
I've known him forever. Big Iowa State fan. So we got to do a little bit better job of getting the word out about Sound the Sirens. So I'm trying to get it. So
our biggest is Twitter, and I don't like. You think everyone just lives on Twitter, but that's a terrible thing to do. No one should do that. Just be there on 10 minutes at a time. Like living on there, you can start your day with a great day, and then you get on one of these apps, and then it completely changes it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You're not even living in real life,
right?
And like. I've obviously had these apps since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
It's just like, and now we're kind of all, I don't know if we're all agreeing about it, but I think if you, it just use them less. Like, just take some information and move on. Because you can just get caught, like, especially today, like when everyone's just angry at the world, and especially everyone's pissed off, and then the AP comes out and we're ranked 4th.
Right? Yeah.
It's like, what? It's the highest ranking we've ever been.
Oh, my God.
Then it brings you back. All right, we were ranked back in 1999, 2000. We were 7th.
Yeah.
7th in the AP poll. We had 2 Pac-12 schools, and I'm talking about the Tinsley Pfizer year, who were ranked ahead of us.
The year we just absolutely demolished UCLA.
I don't know, man. It just seems like history is just repeating itself.
Your brother gave up social media for Lent, and I think he's much happier.
Yeah, that's. I think if we could, I don't know, if somehow we can make like obviously TikTok ban has made kind of social media more talked about the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And if we can get a stranglehold on it, I think a lot of people will be way happier. I think it's
Yep,
like
that's
literally
right.
like the cigarettes and
It is
like,
exactly. That's a good comparison.
but it's just like you don't smell it. You it's literally invisible. You
Yeah.
do it unknowingly.
It's a
Like
mind virus.
it really is. And obviously it's kind of the hard part of it is like this podcast grows as much as how much you're on it
Yeah.
and posting, which
Well, I
that's
mean, we
kind
didn't, what we're going to ask everybody that has our loyal listeners have been. We've only been doing this 2 years.
yeah.
Is to tell your friends about it. I mean, if they're Iowa State fans and they like podcasts, or maybe they've never listened to a podcast, give us a chance. We've said a million times we're doing this just because of our passion for Iowa State. We're not making any money on it. I've lost money on it, for crying out loud. But I'm going to try to talk Thomas into doing a couple Sound the Siren giveaway things on Twitter this week to maybe get some more gear out there. We used to do it. We haven't done it for a while. And then I'll send it to you so you can have it before you get to Omaha. So look for that if you're in Sound the Sirens at Twitter. Sound the Sirens on Thomas's Twitter site.
X,
Whatever the hell it's called. And then, but if you're interested, we still have shirts and stuff. It's on soundthesirens.com, but we're going to try to give away some stuff this week too. And just tell your friends. I mean, we picked up a couple more followers on Spotify, and I know there's a lot of content out there for Iowa State, and we can be the alternative just add one more to your podcast list.
And we're not trying to be like perfect and like have
This
this
isn't
perfect analysis.
It's not our full-time job.
It's
Yeah,
usually
we're
just-
like you guys. Yeah.
And we repeat ourselves probably sometimes. It's just I don't know. And like the main reason why I made this podcast is just like to have things on record with my dad, with my family, and just like have that looking back on. It's just like if we had the podcast back in 1999,
it'd have been fun.
probably be similar to this. Like Harold would probably be like pissed off because
my
we
dad.
got a lower seed, but
Yeah.
and at the same time, be like, well, at least we can go to Minneapolis and drive to it, which that's the Omaha thing.
The podcast that I would have loved to have had back then is when I took two of my best friends, Tim Gustafson and Wendell Larson, both going to be possible. I don't know if Gus is going to Omaha or not, but I know Wendell is. We went to Minneapolis in the Metrodome and saw the Jeff Hornacek last second shot together, sitting in the top row of the Metrodome. I would have loved to have a podcast with those guys back then, because that would have been a mess.
Yeah, Johnny. Then the next game was Michigan.
Yeah, that's the night we beat Michigan. Yeah. So,
yeah.
well, I think we're getting along. We probably ought to.
All right, sounds good.
Good luck have safe travels to Omaha, everybody. Look out for giveaways on Twitter this week.
All right, go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones.